beef, nigga.
Punk ass,
Jared Toll, nigga, do something, nigga.
Stomp him in the nuts, I'ma stomp him in the nuts. Stomp him in the nuts, I'ma stomp him in the nuts.
Hello, humans, and welcome to Audioface, where every podcast about music, news, and culture that mostly matters. I am Sean,
I am Dan,
and
I'm having too much fun with the soundboard.
this is the special Rap Beef edition of Audioface because we're not reviewing. We ain't got no albums. We ain't got no records. We ain't got no
Push
EPs.
it back.
We ain't got
This
no
is
mixtapes.
push it back week on audio.
Because if you are dropping an album this week, push it back.
Push
No
it
one will listen to your
back.
album. It is Rap Beef. It is Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. K-Dot, Kung Fu Kenny versus Drizzy. Toronto's
Six
very
God.
own. Sexy Red.
Sexy Predator.
Sexy Predator. Toronto Maple Leafs lost in Game 7 against the Bruins again. Drake.
Toronto
Love
Raptors fan. I mean Golden State Warriors fan. I mean Los Angeles Lakers fan. I mean PDF file reader. I mean Drake.
Covering up
anyways.
tattoos, cheering for the other team. Drake. Never forget.
Turncoat Drake. Culture Vulture Drake. Wife beater Kenny. You know, we out here. We out here.
This is
Pro Club Kenny.
this is rough. This literally, we're not reviewing anything, just Rap Beef. That's it. That's
Okay,
the
so, like,
episode.
I want to be honest, all right? There's 3 things, maybe 4 things that need to be done on Audioface this year that we haven't done. 1, upload some of the episodes from last year for the members content. Number 2, a fucking break. Number 3, music recommendations episode, because there's some music for the past a little bit of last year and this year that we've been missing. There are some folks who are claiming to have invented gay pop. So if you thought St. Vincent made people mad and St. Sophie lovers mad, oh boy, there's stuff you're missing there. But yeah, we're also missing. We're going to review Willow. We're going to review Dua Lipa. Willow being a rare case where I was going to break my no Nepo Babies rule on Audioface. It's a fairly new rule, but I don't think I'm going to be doing many Nepo Baby albums on here. But Willow is Willow Smith,
Right.
of the Smiths. You may have heard of them from the reverse beating your wife, I guess. It's reverse beating your wife.
I don't even know what to call that one. That's just some fucked up rich people shit. That's all I know.
Beating your fellow Illuminati member on behalf of your wife / Illuminati member / Eiffel Towerette. Anyways, Eiffel Towerette. Anyways.
Oh god. We were going to review all of that stuff, but instead we
Clear
had,
the schedule.
like, if you have an album dropping, just push it back.
Okay, because honestly, not only did we have, oh my god, like 7 songs drop, 6 main songs drop of the main story arc of Kendrick versus Drake at this point. You had a couple notable parts of the sideshow here to mention, and we'll mention at least one thing. You had, these songs are very dense too, very revealing, especially on the Kendrick side, very lyrically challenging and musically challenging. I mean, we've seen from Drake, you've seen some of the best, most effortful rapping his ghostwriters have done over the past decade. And from Kendrick, you're seeing a man just host a clinic on pure, unrefined Vanta Black hatred. This is Dan from the internet. I've never seen a warpath like this in my entire life. I've never seen this much blatant hatred next to, Benjamin Netanyahu for the Palestinians. I've never seen this much blatant hatred for another person or another entity in my natural life. Nevertheless, we're here with Kendrick. And so we've been getting the best from all of them, especially from Kendrick. We've been getting a clinic and all of his different flows and all of his different styles. We've gotten Banger Kendrick. We've gotten We Cry Together. This is a tough listen, Kendrick. Like
We've got Auntie Diaries Kendrick. Like we've got
Making Fun of Auntie Diaries Drake. We've got a lot going on here. I don't know. And also there's the, I like to be really good with my percentages here, but there's, considering when we're recording a little bit later than usual, this episode of Audioface, there's a non-zero chance, in fact, purely 50-50 that Kendrick drops something while we're recording. So intermittently we're going to be checking here. Because if that happens, I will both love that as like a content creator, and I will both hate that as a person with a cold and a job. So without further ado, we are going to be talking about, for those who are just joining on the streams, this is a special stream because also at the end of this I want to make sure I talk about one of the major points here. I didn't put this in the rundown, but make sure I don't forget this. In fact, I'm going to like put this note here. Vince Staples was asked about by the mayor of Long Beach, literally the mayor of Long Beach. He was asked.
Wait, that was him asking the question. The mayor of Long Beach was asking that?
It wasn't him asking the question, but it was in a panel that was hosted, like it was in an event that was for the city of Long Beach that the Long Beach mayor, who's currently Rex Richardson, if I know correctly, he was hosting the panel, asking questions to Vince Staples, who was sitting there. So it was like a one-on-one Q&A type thing. So Rex had some questions, probably some of his, probably some that were prepared, and then there's some audience questions. So the audience question was naturally where it went to the beef. I think there's an interesting answer there. I'm going to try to pull that up later. Because there isn't a big thing to say about this, because like a lot of people, especially on the left, who are not into music, are not into following music all the time. For those who don't know, against better judgment and legal advice, we've been doing Audioface for the past 8 years and counting. And so along with that, I've been like, doing the political thing with, Sean's been through the Time to Time. You have Bam and C's butthurt Drake fans who are like in that doing Power Report as well. And so I've always seen this like mix between politics and music. There's a lot of people asking the very valid question of like, why is all this attention seem to be going on the rap beef, especially someone like Kendrick Lamar, who seems to be the woke one? Why are we talking about this when Palestine's going on? And I want to address that at the very end, as well as also addressing, because I'm going in chronological order of what happened this week, because this is how Audioface works, along with essentially addressing the Heart Part 6 at the end, because this week started at the beginning. Also, we do arbitrary scales every week on Audioface because our review is our review. We're not going to give you a letter ranking system or number ranking system of these singles. We're giving singles rankings for this special edition, so we're breaking a lot of rules here. Not as many as apparently Kendrick and Drake are alleging of each other, but we're out here. And Audioface now with 100% more legal representation, so we good. Anyways, hi Carl. Let's go. Yeah, like 0p in the comments says let's go. And Uncle Slayer, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
More on that later. I will just tease by saying the Heart Part 6 is Drake doing his best Sideshow Bob impression, where he's like the legitimately scary villain of the show who's self-defeating. Right? Like he's just stepping on rake after rake after rake. Like, yes, now he's made that Always Sunny thing true. Yeah, we're jumping the gun.
Yeah, we'll get there.
While I blow my nose on mute, hence the obligatory, you're going to be telling me I'm on mute many times during this episode. Can you give a preamble of like,
so it began, right?
Well, like let's start with like the super abridged version of like that to where we are before we started this week.
Right. So like if y'all haven't been listening to Audioface, or you haven't caught our singles and other stuff and stories throughout the past couple weeks, this whole beef started with a feature on a Metro Boomin and Future track called "Like That," where Kendrick goes on the middle of it and basically says, fuck the big three, it's just big me, right? Like the big three being, Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick. And Kendrick said, no, like it's just Big Me. And that started this whole rap beef. And then J. Cole
He also
released
said nigga bum, and which kicked off the rap beef.
Yeah, he also said
to be
bum.
fair, it's not completely out of nowhere. There is, and as it was now kind of being revealed through this rap beef, Drake wanted to invite J. Cole and Kendrick onto a song on For All the Dogs where they would celebrate being like the big three sort of artists. And J. Cole is, happy go lucky, I love being friends, kumbaya, friendship and hugs to you and me type vibe. Was like, yeah, cool, Drake, I'll do the song with you. And Kendrick was like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I remember he was conflicted. And so like he didn't do that. On that track, there's a big three reference, and it's all in, good fun of like, look, the big three is J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake, and no particular order. There's just, two on the song and one that isn't. And so like that is one of the kickoff points. You also have some other points, and this isn't Drake's first rap beef. It isn't J. Cole's first rap beef. It's probably his last. And it isn't Kendrick's first rap beef. It's definitely not his first attempt at trying to get a rap beef with Drake going. But he's wanted to prove that he's like been the top artist for a while. So like that comes out. It's a huge, like successful, massive record. On its own, but also, like that gets Kendrick Lamar, Future, and Metro Boomin to be #1 on the rap charts and Billboard charts in general, which is really hard to do.
Which is crazy.
Really hard to do. Like, I think it only slightly got dethroned. No, it got totally dethroned by Taylor Swift, which, like, of course. But, it's still very good to do at this point, where the other context is that this is the year 2024. And even though we're just coming out of the big, 50-year celebrations of hip hop and rap as a genre, the genre has never been more dead and on life support than ever before. If you want more information about that, make sure you're checking out youtube.com/audiofacepod for our previous episodes. Every year we do a state of music conversation. We just did our one for 2024 where we talk about all the big genres. So again, youtube.com/audiofacepod, or become a member at syndicate23.co for all of the content. So like that comes out. And then there's a pretty decently long pause where we're like,
for Drake.
Hey, Drake. Okay, Drake.
Because J. Cole releases his surprise album, his diss song, and then
for better or worse, I almost forgot that happened.
Yeah, and then he literally apologizes, unreleases his diss song, and ends up on the Not a Little Bitch award. Straight, do not pass go, do not collect $200. Absolute straight extreme Not a Little Bitch nominee J. Cole for literally stepping out of the beef and everything, right? Like that's just, you can't release a 7-minute diss. That's not 7 minutes, and then bitch out on it. So, but at this point, most people forget about it because Drake finally responded, right? And that was 2 weeks ago at this point. And we reviewed that single on here as my fucking
push-ups.
Yeah.
No, you're all good. Yeah, so we reviewed push-ups. It was, a pretty good effort of Drake rapping. It was nothing that was revealing. It's still very much in the, like, if it's a boxing ring or if it's in the UFC, the bell goes off, the referee like kind of steps back a little bit, maybe you touch gloves, and this is just that very beginning part there. Like the big punches aren't being thrown, you're just sort of like getting a feel for the other opponent's like move style and that kind of thing, right? And wow, did the dynamics of this rap beef change really fast and are constantly changing, like rapidly dynamic, live, local, and late breaking, changing as we speak. And so in the beginning, the dynamic of this rap beef was, this is going to move at a glacier's pace. You have Kendrick Lamar, who is known for taking his sweet ass time, for better or worse, and releasing music. But that being said, Drake could take a long time to release this thing too. So you had a lot of people on both sides saying, well, come on, this is taking a long time.
Right.
Even though it took Drake like little over, he said like 2 weeks and a day or so to come back to his release. People were saying, "Oh wow, Kendrick has been 3 days. How long is it going to take you to respond?" Oh, Kendrick is. Some people I know were saying that Kendrick would respond in 9 months at best, but probably would never start. And it was kind of unclear because Kendrick got what he wanted. He got a sparring match between, tail between his legs, J. Cole and Drake. The industry, meanwhile, Kanye had his Like That remix. What was it? Rick Ross came out with remixes. You had a lot of other, what I call it, the sideshow of this beef kind of start to happen and take hold.
Yeah.
But now you have this point. Now we're getting to this last week where, what's that old saying? There's like, there can be like weeks that feel like there's like weeks that feel like years, or like there's, I forget, but it's like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go through the quote. Basically, the idea is so much stuff happened in such a short amount of time. I guess it's best distilled in, wow, what a century last week was. Because when we were preparing the rundown, it's like, oh my god, there's like 7 songs here. And so Tuesday morning, like the classics, because back in the old days, new music came out on Tuesdays. Also, it goes to this thing that you see in the beef the whole time, which is that Drake cares very much about the response and how people are reacting to it and how people are perceiving him. And he cares about this all in his career, but he definitely cares about this during this beef. And that informs a lot of what's going on. Meanwhile, Kendrick is in his like Zen fallout tunnel where he like doesn't have internet access. He doesn't use Instagram or social media all that much. He's just like, doing jail workouts and and calling up producers from around the country saying, I need a beat. And he won't even send like the lyrics to it. He'll just like mumble over it and like do the intonation. So like the producer knows what's going on and he sends it back. And then like 45 seconds later, a song drops. Like it's truly like monstrous stuff Kendrick's going on here. It's like there's a difference in tone here. And you get that through Euphoria, which is a 7-minute gauntlet of a song. What did you think of it?
Yeah, so I mean, Euphoria is like, right, as a response, right? It's Kendrick kind of asserting himself really into the beef, right? Because the funny thing with me, with Like That, right? Like it's a feature on a track that isn't even his. That kind of kicks this whole thing
on
off.
an album that isn't his. Yeah,
an album that isn't his. On all that, it's funny because it's super random that he popped up on that album. But I mean, Metro and Drake have beef more than that a little bit too. So it's like there's
Future and Drake have beef.
Forgot about that too. More on that later. There's
also just to contextualize this entire thing. We Still Don't Trust You was a secondary release to We Don't Trust You, the album that Like That came off of. That happened even before Drake dropped again. And while you didn't get another Kendrick diss, you got what seemed to be maybe a pre-recorded J. Cole, slight dig at Drake at some parts of it. The Weeknd made some disses. A$AP Rocky made some disses. That kind of contributes to the whole like sideshow effect of this. So it wasn't just like Rick Ross and Kanye. You had people who were like, at this point you're kind of piling onto Drake, which gives Drake an angle of, oh, it's
everybody versus me.
Yeah, I get to jump up here and like, Homelander this bitch and showing one that I'm like number one and everyone just hates me because I'm great. And that gives him like an angle for his fans. But yeah, that was just to contextualize what was going on before we got to Euphoria, which begins with that backmasked weird thing that's, stuff going backwards.
It's the helicopter.
But when you unbackmask it, it says everything they say about me is true, which is a big contrast you get into the record. It's Kendrick calling Drake, quote, a master manipulator and habitual liar too, and saying, don't tell no lie about me and I won't tell truths about you, which is a reference to I think Kendrick's The Heart Part 4, or like a similar lyric that he had back then.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of lore in here, and it's a similar pattern. Kendrick, there's the memes of Kendrick lyrics having quintuple, sextuple entendres is like kind of a meme on its own. But it's true that like many of Kendrick's lyrics, especially in these earlier songs here, have a lot of layers. Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, so as a diss, it's like it for Euphoria, right? This is where he really cements himself as like licking his chops. Kendrick is like, I'm finally getting the beef that I've been wanting for a long time, right? And then
And it's like an a la carte menu of Kendrick too. It's like
yeah,
all of
I
his
mean, like
different
you know how
styles.
Kendrick's style is, right? Like he's gonna do some weird kind of intro type thing, and then the harder part's gonna like come in, and then you switch it up at the end part of it and everything too, and which is one thing that also you are muted. Um, and I hate like one thing just which we've been saying on Audioface forever, right? And Kendrick and Drake both do this on a bunch of their diss songs. I hate when rappers keep making um 3 songs in one. Like I called out 21 on that. I called out Metro on that past couple years. And with these, like I hate when rappers go and they're like, okay, we're gonna make 3 songs into one, and it gets old very quick. So that part is annoying on all parts. But getting that part out of the way, um, it's a good it's a good way to for Kendrick to really enter into the beef and everything, right? Like there's a lot of layers to it because Euphoria, right? Like I think Drake is like a producer or something on that TV show or some shit. Like he has some type of role on it, and then it's kind of like a whole
Mind
thing
you,
with
like Euphoria being a show that an A24 joint criticized being a show that over sexualized, over romanticized
teens and
drug
shit.
use,
Yeah,
teen sex use, a lot of really deep and dark themes that it was lauded for critically, but also criticized for.
right.
See also Drake and all of these themes of like, okay, inappropriate themes with minors, and then yeah, being connected. And, like these kind of roles in Hollywood are really like celebratory. I don't know this for a fact, but like I doubt Drake was like in the editing room for any of these episodes, at least as much as he was for Top Boy. That I know he had a little
Mm,
bit more of
mhm.
a
Yeah,
a feature in. But it's like the story of Reginald Hudlin of the Boondocks, who had an executive producer credit but stopped working on the show after the pilot that never aired for Fox, and then like got made fun of in later episodes with his name in the credits. It's like it's
yeah.
a welcome to life in the big city. These things happen because of someone signed a contract somewhere that said, however this project turns out, I get
I
this
get credit
credit.
for it. Yeah,
Yeah, like I get this credit, and then I get to put that on my resume for other future endeavors, right? So it's less so for Drake. When people like Drake or like Will I Am do these things, it's a little bit more of like a vanity project. But you're diversifying your wealth, for all of the bad stake bets that Drake is probably doing. Maybe he's getting some HBO money. Maybe it balances out.
yeah. Right, but then you get to like the lyricism of this, right? Like this is a nearly 7-minute diss, and Jesus Christ, there's so
And like you're
much.
saying, there's like a bunch of different flows in here too. So
Yeah,
like, and this is, yes, I have a bias towards Kendrick. I think we both do here on the podcast, and like maybe some of the viewers do. But with the Kendrick songs, especially the Drake songs, I listen to twice at least because I do that with every single song. And these are rapid fire accusations and disses and things like that. So it takes a little while to take it all in. But with every single one of these Kendrick disses, with the exception of one, I've had to listen to it multiple times over again to like really get the point and really understand everything that's going on there. Because again, like I was saying, these are really dense.
yeah, very, very dense, right? And they get into like Euphoria gets into a lot of stuff, right? Where he calls him out for using, a weird AI version of Tupac on the diss on that Drake put out, right? Like he goes into right where he goes, I'd rather do that and let a Canadian make Pac turn in his grave. right? Like there goes
Yeah.
into that.
That Tupac and Snoop Dogg AI feature, which by the
Right.
way was on Drake's tailor-made freestyle that came out about a week before this. So like Drake was doing his own sort of victory lap thing after push-ups had come out, and so he released tailor-made freestyle, which I think was an unforced error, and it would have been something that like Kendrick could have pulled a Drake and just left the rap beef and then restarted it months later just by saying, "Hey, remember that time when Drake was having a beef with me and he responded to like one verse in a Future album with disrespecting the estate of Tupac that way?"
Yeah.
Turning the world into Dan and Sean's Audioface opinions on posthumous artists and their recreations.
Yeah.
He could have stopped there, but no, he turned that into something that he gets at a lot. And by the way, one detail here, the 4D chess that Kendrick is honestly displaying here in a lot of these cases. One of the producers on this Euphoria track is Jack Antonoff, a very familiar name here on the Audioface podcast,
Least
but
favorite producer.
a frequent producer collaborator with Taylor Swift. So you could argue that Euphoria is a tailor-made song in response to tailor-made freestyle, which I think a lot of people were pointing out. It's like, again, Kendrick Lamar is the guy who's David Gogginsing it in the park at 3:30 a.m. in the morning doing jail workouts. Like, some niggas you just know, I'm not gonna mess with that guy. I'm gonna let him do his thing. I'm gonna keep running my business. Because if you mess with him, he's gonna like he's not just gonna like kick your ass. He's gonna get all like psychological with it. He's gonna get like he's going to get like a like Buddhist practice about like killing you and hating you, which you're really seeing in this. There's all these other different flows in here. There's Kendrick accusing Drake of, and this was pretty well confirmed, paying off $500,000 to a woman for a supposed sexual violence case. I believe in 2018, 2019. The bar that really shifted it for a lot of people was Cole and Aubrey know I'm a selfish nigga. The crown is heavy. I pray they my real friends. If not, I'm YNW Melly. The rapper who is currently experiencing extreme jail for killing his friends and for killing the people in his YNW crew. So you get a lot of laid foundation here. Drake's a culture vulture. Drake, is competing for Sexy Red for Who's the Baddest Bitch award. You get a lot of memed stuff out here.
I mean,
Criticism about the AI.
He brings up the Pusha T beef, right? He says, "Fuck all that Pusha P. Let me see you Pusha T," right? Where you go, obviously that one where Pusha T revealed that Drake's had a kid that he's been deadbeating dad for a while, just hilarious.
More on that later.
More on that. Uncomfortably later.
It mentions New Ho King, which is a restaurant in Toronto, which not only saw a spike in people going to it after Euphoria came out, but it's also a restaurant that long time ago, real Drake in real life, Aubrey Graham got robbed in, and like got his chain taken, chain snatched, tattoos burned, things of that nature. And so that was a diss there, and he doubles down on the Rick Ross line, or the line of attack of saying Drake's not really black enough, and there's I'm glad that Kendrick, this is the most important part of this rap beef as it is right now, is Kendrick making this point about Drake commodifying his blackness. But a lot of people, not just white people, but a lot of black folks, and just people of all races, are misunderstanding what Kendrick is saying. Like, Kendrick's not saying, you're biracial and I don't like you. He's not saying, I got this issue with you and Bruno Mars, right? Like, it's that's neither here nor there, right? What he's saying is that Drake merely adopts his blackness and uses it during convenient time, just like he adopts his Jamaicanness, just like he adopts his patois. I mean, like he is Canadian, right? Like so, like that is his environment where he grew up in. But like he tries to say he's from Houston. More on this later. He tries to say like he's from Atlanta. He's the people he surrounds himself with, his crew. Ole made a great point that the famous meme of like Drake with his hair and with his nails painted, looking all the way Drake is looking, is actually a bad parody of Smino and the way that he looks. And when you combine, Smino and Sexy Red are both rappers from a similar region, it makes it, kind of traject that part of what Drake is doing right now is appealing to like the Houston, Missouri, Louisiana style of rappers. And that's his next culture vulture thing, because the Jamaican accent has run its mileage, the British grime has run its mileage, the Toronto Zone 6 has run its mileage, the Atlanta has run its mileage. So again, you're getting at Drake as a culture vulture, and Kendrick being like, this is my main, this is the reason I'm mad at you kind of thing.
Yeah, that and
One
then
part of
like
me,
the commodifying it, and then like the right, like
and not giving back to it too.
Yeah, and not giving back to it, um and the thing too, right? It's like it goes back to Yasin Bey, most def, talking about the commercialization of Drake, right? Where he got asked if Drake is hip hop, and he goes, like basically saying no, right? Where you hear his music in Target, right? You hear it bumping along, and it's just this whitewashed version of hip hop where everything's fine and dandy because it's not real stuff from the streets, right? It's not real stories, real things that go on, that like the beautiful storytelling that goes on in hip hop and rap. Um, and Kendrick is going into that part too, because he goes, "Hey, like you're not telling like like thug and shit, right? Like the stuff that I've seen, the stuff that right, like I grew up in, and all these things coming from Compton, right? Like
And when he's speaking
he's coming,
purely outside of his experience.
yeah." And it's commercialization of rap. That's what it is, right? And it's like, yeah, again, in the words of Yasin Bey, "Oh, I love this new Drake. It gets me going. I'm in
So many
Target running down the aisle.
skews.
So many
So many
SKUs."
skews.
What happens when this all collapses, right? Like, and that's the point. Right? It's just Drake is the popular rapper, the pop artist, right? Like that's what I see him as, right? Like he's
Rap has become a popularized genre to
yeah,
the point where you have, you know, it used to be okay, Beck would be in his own little corner doing his hillbilly spoken word kind of thing, and like that would be allowed. But you have major pop stars from your like 2010s era ones, like
yeah,
Justin Bieber, Kesha, Lady Gaga, etc., to your more modern Ariana Grandes, Dua Lipas, etc., doing more
Eilish,
spoken word.
whatever.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
doing spoken word things, which is like, okay, that's a hop, skip, and a jump away from rap. These artists collaborate with rappers and are friends with rappers very often. So it's like rap is at that point, that 50-year mark, where on the one hand, it's beautiful that it can be integrated into pop music in that way. But on the other hand, when you have a genre that comes from fighting the power both musically and the fact that like there were labels that fought this sound from like wanting to come on, but
right.
also it was a struggle, it was a movement, it was talking about um life in urban communities in the United States and all parts of the world, largely part of the African diaspora, but it was talking about that through the 70s, through the 80s, through the 90s. You know it was one thing for NWA to have the sort of, be woke and be aware songs and also like the gang bang and popping songs, but then they combine both with the song F the Police because it, is talking about them doing the hood shit, but it's also talking about police brutality, how the black cops are rougher. And like, and we rehash the whole thing,
It
right?
goes into the whole
But
thing, right? But
these are like the idea is that Drake does not make songs with that kind of depth. Drake still makes songs for the boy in high school who got rejected or dumped by their crush and is like, oh, I'll show you one day. I'm gonna hit the gym and all the girls are gonna love me. It's like Drake only makes music from that point of view, and Kendrick makes music from that point of view, but now he's also gone to the you know speaking on blackness thing, the bangers, the songs about love, the songs about growth and therapy and healing from traumas and issues. Like, he's shown the range Kendrick has. He's shown the range that rap has at a pretty high level as well. Drake, meanwhile, is a pop star. He's a singer first and foremost, and he doesn't give back and honor cultures the way that he should be. I'll use this one example because I think this is perfect. Remember when we would talk about, and we joke Damon Albarn has black friends, we would talk about Disclosure going to Africa for a lot of influences for Caracol and Energy, those records, right? Those were not examples of cultural appropriation because
No, because you're having those artists come on, like African
exactly.
artists come on in their native tongue, right? Like
You're
coming
bringing
on
them on, you're putting them on, you're crediting them, you're
and like
you're not
it's
hiding them
really
as ghostwriters.
yeah, I mean that can get me on a whole different tangent, but at this point, like we're still on fucking Euphoria. We have a shit ton more songs to get into.
No, that's fair.
So
I was starting to kind of move into 616 in LA to kind of like set the tone. So like, yeah. Oh, so
arbitrary scale, we're gonna rank.
yes.
So we're gonna do things a little bit differently this week because normally we do arbitrary scales for records, for albums, for even
the
an
albums
album
that we review.
But this week we aren't doing any albums because if you're making an album, push it back now. So we do arbitrary scale because we don't like giving it a number, a ranking system, because that's stupid.
Pitchfork shit.
Just pitchfork shit. Like then all you're gonna do is skip ahead and look at what score do they give them, right? No, we just make something random that makes absolutely no sense because we want you guys to actually listen to what we have to say. Yeah, and that's it. So oh Jesus Christ. This week's arbitrary scale, this one's gonna get me in trouble. Celebrities who may have perished in aviation related accidents.
May have. Listen, we have truthers here. So
Euphoria,
this is
Truth Through podcast.
Euphoria is going to be my
this right here is absolutely my Buddy Holiday. This is the day that music died.
This is gonna be my yo, how does there here you go. How are there so many of these? This is the Kennedy who died in the plane. I can't find which one because there are multiple Kennedys. Yeah, it was John F. Kennedy Jr. Sorry, who died in a Piper. You know they make good stuff.
Piper arches are fun to fly, to be fair, but you know they might kill them Kennedys. What?
Yeah, I want to read some comments here. I like that we're doing this live stream.
Holy shit, that's a lot of comments.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people in chat too. Nearly 200 watching live. So we are out here. Mostly just, chat about slowcore, which is, fine in here. 0P saying, Meet the Grams felt unsettling to me. We're getting there.
Oh, just wait. Oh, just wait. I had the most.
Good.
No, the AI pack was blasphemous. I think that on that alone, Drake might have a problem visiting the West Coast. Yeah.
More on that later.
I can't believe he did that. To be fair, like that's just awful. Yeah.
Let's. We have some more comments. We will get into more comments here. Thank you. Keep commenting. Please, support the stream. Watch. Like it if you're watching it on YouTube. Please. That makes it go up in the algorithm. So yeah. Next, we have
someone
616.
Said never mind. AI POC APAC. That's hilarious.
More on that later. You see, they're not talking about that real connection, all right? They're not talking about the real connection.
I'm a full flat earth on him.
Dan starts the podcast saying, hey, listen, I'm sick. I have a headache every time I move my head. We're going to make this really quick. It's going to be like 11:35 on the West Coast.
It really
Kendrick
is.
and Drake will have dropped 2 more songs. I will be powered by nothing but caffeine and like pure like adrenaline. Okay, no. But
next one.
Yeah, during this time, we're in an interesting space where the time continuum has shifted, and now it's like, okay, Kendrick has released a response, and he released the response to Euphoria faster than Drake released his response to Like That. So now the clock turns back on Drake, and we're all looking, and one Friday happens, nothing from Drake. Another Friday happens, nothing from Drake. But in that morning, on Instagram, Kendrick Lamar, on a platform he doesn't use, drops some Mercedes Maybach gloves and a song that says 616 in LA. An obvious hit on Drake's, time code in location sort of series of songs. And so now we're at a point where Kendrick has come back to back with a diss, which, by the way, is a reference that Kendrick makes in Euphoria. So he calls a shot because he says, try to cease and desist on the Like That record. Ho, what? You ain't like that record. Back to back, I like that record. I'm gonna get back to that for the record. So in that he I know we're talking about Euphoria here, but it's not so much of the layers. He accuses Drake and his team of trying to get a cease and desist on Like That, which we found out through Metro confirming that they tried to get it off the radio, saying that they didn't have approval for the song, considering I think it's like Future and Drake who are technically on the same label. But Back to Back was the diss that Drake had against Meek Mill, and Kendrick's saying, "Oh, Back to Back." Kendrick's saying, "Oh, Back to Back, I like that record. I'm gonna get back to that for the record." Kendrick's doing the old Audioface. More on that later. Because he comes back 3 days. Because he comes back like not 3 days later, but he comes back to be the first to respond. He responds to his own song in Drake's silence with 616 in LA. Going, really, bitch? Nothing, bitch. Really? So yeah, when that came out, what were you thinking?
It was just funny because like when he dropped 616 in LA, I'm like, as a Kendrick fan, I'm happy because I'm getting more Kendrick Lamar, and this is hilarious. And I'm like, oh shit, he really mad. I was like, he's about this. He's been waiting. Kendrick was like, put me in, coach. I wanna. He's been waiting. He's been waiting, sitting there, 3 a.m. in a park on Crenshaw, just fucking pull-ups. Push-ups. Like that's it. Just wait.
Pull-ups, push-ups.
Just waiting.
Sit-ups.
And I mean, there's 616 LA has a lot of layers naturally to it. I mean, the Maybach glove is, looks like OJ glove, and then 616 was wasn't that his alleged victims and fuck, what's his.
There's a lot of layers to it. So,
Yeah,
616, aka June 16th, is Father's Day. Ooh.
More on that later.
Yeah. 616. Like there's so many layers to it. I think that someone was pointing out that with the glove being posted there, it's a Maybach glove, so it has nothing to do with OJ Simpson necessarily. But they're also pointing out that June 16th was the day that OJ Simpson's ex-wife was buried.
There you go. That's what it was.
But there were like a whole bunch of double meanings supposed within 616. It was posted at 6:16 a.m. in LA. And sorry, this was the one. 6:16 in LA was produced by Jack Antonoff. Euphoria was not. June 16th was also the date of Kendrick's first concert in Toronto. And it was the birthday of Tupac.
Lots of layers to the shit. Layers to the shit.
Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. And that's the part where you start to get another major part of this, which is there a leak in OVO?
Yeah,
so, like,
that's the main theme from this song, right? It goes, have you ever thought that OVO was working for me? Right? Like,
yeah.
That right there, and then that like kind of the whole verse in the middle of the track, right? Like that's where it gets into him having information, him having like some type of rat or whatever in the OVO game, and then him calling it out and saying all that, and then that's, I mean, and talk about how people in OVO hate him and all this stuff too. That
It's like
gets in his
OVO.
track. So
By the way, OVO, October's very own. It's Drake's sort of like company, label, clothing brand, entity, and in a rap beef, you have to attack a rapper where it hurts. Each rapper has strengths and weaknesses, assets and vulnerabilities. Drake's vulnerabilities, I mean, he's a target-rich environment because he's such an insecure man who puts on a shell. I mean, I think we all kind of know this, but we've all kind of accepted this for the point of pop music. And so we go through this and we see it, and it's like we kind of understand Drake as this person. But Kendrick Lamar is going sort of like Pusha T did when he was Pusha T was referencing his Surgical Summer lyric at the end of Story of Adidon. He said, Kendrick was like saying, let's pull this back off like layer by layer. Can't Tusi slide out of this one? It's going to resurface. It's like, conspiracies about Cash Dog. That's not even the leak. Find the jewels like Cash Doll. I just need you to think. And here's the other part where you start to see some references to the outsiders here. Somebody's lying. I can see the vibes on Ack. Even he's looking compromised. Let's peel the layers back. Shout out to DJ Academics there, who, I'll be honest, seeing him squirm has been the cherry on top of this. I like seeing him squirm even more than I like knowing that Drake is squirming, which is saying something.
Little weasel. But anyways, like it gets
also, sorry, last one. You play nerdy with Zach Bia and Twitter bots. So Zach Bia is a well-known like lifetime or like nightlife entertainment figure in LA. Who Zach and Drake tend to like roll around with whenever he's visiting in LA. Believe me, I know it's annoying. Okay, but yes. Last thoughts on this.
I mean, okay, that's the whole point. Is like, hey, like someone from your camp is talking with me, right? And it's talking to my crew and giving us all these details and shit. And you're like, right? And that's the big thing from 616 in LA. But another kind of point from 616 in LA, like you have the two tracks that Kendrick dropped at that point, Euphoria and 616 in LA. They're very different tracks in a way, right? Like the way that they're constructed, the way that they're made, 616 being 3 minutes and some change long, Euphoria being nearly fucking 7 minutes long, and they sound very different, right? It's showing like Kendrick isn't just dissing, he's also showing his artistry and his range in the way that he produces tracks and songs, right? Like he doesn't make the same fucking beat, the same song all the time. It doesn't use the same producers, right? Like you use Jack Antonoff on 16 in LA, which is kind of funny. A choice. Still hate me some Jack Antonoff, but even Broken Clock's right. Well, once a day. He also made Melodrama, so he still got it in there somewhere. But anyways,
you don't hate Jack Antonoff the way Kendrick hates Drake.
No, because
that's just too much work.
That's 3 a.m. push-ups, pull-ups, and off of Crenshaw, mad. Like that's big drinking haterade, mad. Like that's artistic hatred.
That's showing up on the tarmac at 2:45 a.m. Push-ups, pull-ups, push-ups, pull-ups.
Just delayed the entire time, just waiting for clearance. Like just shaking. That's way too real.
Doing crunches right on the approach.
But anyways, so you get that, right? Arbitrary scale.
Yes, arbitrary scale. This one is going to be my Richie Valens.
Richie Valens. That's a good one.
We're doing celebrities, musicians who have died. Maybe have unalived in a plane or a helicopter accident.
This is definitely my Glenn Miller.
All right. Let me read a few more comments because there are a lot of comments in here. Anti-Corporate says, by the way, I'm in San Bernardino, so hi. Good. You're getting some miles, dude. I think earlier this morning you're like in Texas or something. So
San Bern?
Yeah.
It's a fun little flight I like to do. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Zero PE saying rap music is fully co-opted by capitalism at this point. I think,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we would kind of hit that point. Check out our MF Doom episode, but like we had kind of hit that point in the mid 90s pretty easily. And there are already rappers kind of talking about that. And that's why you kind of got the birth and growth of underground hip hop at that time in the early to mid 90s because
with the commercialization of
yeah,
it.
hip hop was feeling commercialized. And there are people who like the fact that, like, much like punk music, we created this in response as a reaction to commercialized music.
Yeah,
When this music gets
anti-capitalism and all these things, right?
yeah,
Like there's
it's
a
like
lot.
when this music itself becomes commercialized. It's like when you have to use capitalist systems to preach socialism, something that like everyone who's like on these things thinks about all the time, at least the ones with souls. It's you understand where you're playing in the game there. I love that AI pack thing very much. Zerp said someone pointed out that people should enjoy that Kenny's dropping so much music right now because they probably won't get
Oh yeah, I
anything
literally
after all
said
this
that.
for a long time. Oh yes.
That's
Yeah,
very
very true. So yeah, you gotta wonder about that. Anyways, Drake finally responded with Family Matters. This was on May 4th, later in the day. So this was on Friday evening. No, this is May 3rd. Sorry. So 16 in LA had dropped in the morning. Family Matters drops in the evening by Drake. This is whole, it's released on YouTube. It's this whole rollout thing where they have the minivan from the deluxe version of Good Kid, Mad City's album cover, and they're putting that in a trash compactor. They're, like flipping the car, chop shop style. This is when you get Drake really, coming at it with his most serious bars. This is when he messages streamers saying, hey, I know you're talking about this, Kendrick song you've been talking about all night. And it's, it's been a good week for rap music. You got your new music just came out this Friday. Hold on. Because Drake's about to drop a banger. At least that's what he was saying. And so I'll be honest here. Again, all cards on the table. I don't like Drake. He's coming correct to this rap beef. He's got his finest ghostwriters on this, and he's doing it with an effort and an intention that I haven't seen him do from like even his own music in a very long time consistently, which is an indictment of his own music. But I mean, it is to say that like he's really trying pretty hard on here. It's really nice because Euphoria ends with Kendrick saying, "We don't want to hear you say the N-word no more," and then in this one, there's an intro with Drake's mom saying, maybe in this song you shouldn't start by saying, and then Drake immediately interrupts by saying, nigga, I said it, I know that you mad, and then goes into his later lines. So, it's good. It sets the tone. It's really good. But you get them first in a series of like unforced errors from Drake, wherein he shows that he's not getting the point.
Right.
So when he says, you the black messiah wifing up a mixed queen and hit vanilla cream just to help out with your self-esteem. Drake took that diss of like not being from the culture of like, oh, you hate me because I'm half black and I'm like half white. And so I'm not going to be black enough for you.
So, well, your wife's half black, right? So then, why are you with her? Aren't you supposed to be, why aren't you with the full black girl? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, that's not the point, bro.
It's like that's not the point.
That's not what he's mad about, dumbass. That just made Kendrick more mad. More on that later, right? And like, he goes on like with all of that where he says, right, like Whitney having a baby with her bodyguard and stuff like that, like getting really personal.
It's assuming Kendrick Lamar. It's assuming Kendrick Lamar's baby mama is that one of their kids. The real dad is Dave Free, who is one of Kendrick Lamar's like childhood friends, creative producers, has helped direct many of the most well-known Kendrick Lamar videos from Humble to Element. Right. He's really like the Ace Boone Coon, so to speak. Like he's the guy who's like by Kendrick's side. And so this accusation that his best friend slept with his wife. So the accusation that his best friend Gavin Newsom, Kendrick, is, you know, pretty intense. And the you know, I will say it's a bad idea. Again, unforced error for Drake to use as the chorus of this track to lift the sexy red line. When Kendrick had said, "Oh, Drake thinks he's sexy red because he's competing with the bad bitches," and Drake goes, "Oh yeah, you know I got a response for that. I'm gonna diss you, and then my chorus is gonna be, hey, let that shorty breathe, shake that ass, bitch, hands on your knees," like literally copying the sexy red song.
It's
But
like
he twisted up by going, "Shake that ass for free," as in Dave Free, and then he extends the free line. Why am I focusing on that intonation? More on that later.
more on that later.
Back to back.
And so my thing with this song, right? Like when I got to it, I was like, okay, Drake's like, as you said earlier, like Drake's coming correct. He's actually rapping. You made Drake come out there and actually have to work on flow and rap and do all these things, but it's flat sounding because at one point in the middle, I'm just like, is he done yet? I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's the same flow for like a minute like a couple minute stretch where I'm like, all right, like I've heard this Drake style before, right? And that's my thing with it, where it's like, okay, it's kind of boring in a way where some of it's interesting, right? Like he throws a lot of disses to Weekend, Metro, to ASAP Rocky, to Rick Ross. I'm the boss, Rick Ross, in my 911. My plane can't fucking taxi right and gets its wheel stuck in the runway.
14 souls, Rick Ross.
That's funny. And yeah, and it's the whole time, right? It's playing. I guess he actually got the fucking van from Good Kid, Mad City, which is hilarious, and then that's playing in the background and everything. But it's decent. It's
To be fair, a Plymouth / Chrysler Town and Country, like whatever that car is, it's not that difficult to get a used one and paint it that color.
Stellantis, baby, Stellantis. I'm getting myself a Stellantis, baby. Let's go.
What? Oh, it's a Mopar. That's the other secret name for Chrysler cars.
Well, when was it at that time? Yeah,
your Mopar
right.
Quadrifolio.
A Mopar Quadrifolia. Your Fiat.
The Mopar Abarth.
Love it. Yeah, and it's I mean it's a decent diss track, to be fair, right? Like
I liked it much more than Push-Ups. I think
it is night and day because Push-Ups is weak, right? Like Push-Ups
and I also
is just
have to say, I'll give Drake a little bit of the benefit of doubt for Push-Ups because he's coming into that situation like Danny like Childish Gambino's character in Community, walking in with a pizza when the apartment's on fire. Like he's doing the Vince McMahon walk. Like, okay, this is my first walk into this absolute, truly 20v1 kind of shit show. When you've got to make your attention on Kendrick, so that track, it was the first shot. It was a little bit chaotic because he had to fight a lot of people. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt of this. This one feels a lot more focused, a lot more serious. He's tossing allegations here, saying, quote, they hired a crisis management team to clean up the fact you beat up on your queen. The picture you painted, it ain't what you're seeing. That's a pretty strong one. Accusing him of he's still living his bachelor lifestyle even though he's trying to get married, so maybe the problems from Mr. Morale might not be over, so maybe he's being unfaithful to his wife, which interesting accusation coming from Drake.
You to mention that, Drake, because more on that later.
Drake, did you and Kendrick use the same guy who cleans up your marital situation?
Same crisis therapist or whatever? That'd be
yes.
hilarious.
Yeah, same crisis management agency. So yeah, there's good bars on here. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. We get it. You like to put gin in your juice. We get you think you're bishop in juice. There's funny.
Black of the berry goes hard. That's right. Drake ain't ever making a blacker the berry. Like he's never making that track. ever.
The best lyric he's got is, "You're right about fuck the big three. It's only Big D and there's video proof." That's gonna be the best Drake gets. It's like, well, because of my own life, where I leaked my hog on my private jet, I can now rap about that time I leaked my hog on my private jet. Which is like, again, Kendrick Lamar is talking about rap culture and black culture and what it stands for, and Drake's talking about his dick. Like,
And he goes, "Look, I have a big dick." Do-do-do. But
Kendrick Lamar is like doing Shaolin warrior shit, and Drake is like at the LA Fitness hooping.
Drake is breaking his ankle, getting off a stretcher at the fucking LA Fitness.
Yeah, it's just a mismatched tone here.
Yeah, and okay. Well, we got arbitrary scale,
That's right.
blah blah blah. Celebrities who may or may not have perished in plane accidents. This
This is
is,
my Howard Hughes, and I can't explain why until we talk about the next song.
I mean, Howard Hughes should have died in a plane crash, but somehow he lived in a plane crash. He killed someone in a plane crash, though. So I guess
why
that
we
counts.
say. That's why we.
I'm not kidding.
I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do the old Bam.
I'm.
Slowly move off screen.
This is definitely my Patsy Cline.
Oh, Patsy.
Patsy.
So the reason I said this is my Howard Hughes. This is my really famous person, plane fall down, hoisted by their own petard, or unhoisted by their own petard, because I guess hoisting involves airtime. Drake was like, Drake was like, okay, it's Friday. I just dropped my song. This is great. Pop the bottles, y'all. OVO's, drinks on me, hose on me. We're going to downtown Toronto. We line up the 6. Kendrick had the morning. I have the evening. And now I'm going to control the narrative in the weekend. I'm going to go outside really fast. Gas the Rari. I'm going to go upstairs and get my nice jacket real quick.
And 1 hour later,
not
Kendrick,
even.
Not even an hour later, Kendrick goes boom, and drops.
Not even. It's so like Drake is coming down to get his Letterman jacket that he wears around the high schools for reasons, and he's coming down. He's like, okay, I'm ready. And then someone from OVO is like, Drake, you want to see this? He's like, what is it, man? What is this? Like, it's Kendrick. It's like, what is it? He dropped. It's like, yeah, we know. He dropped in the morning. It's all ready. It's like, no, he dropped just now.
Push it back. Push it back. And Kendrick drops.
I had to go back on this because in classic Dan fashion, I fell asleep during this entire time.
Oh yeah, by the way, Dan fell asleep during this entire time, so I'm chatting with Bam and C's. Well, Bam and C's both give up because they're like, oh, this is too much. I'm over this beef. And I'm over here like, Meet the Grams is incredibly uncomfortable because there's a lot of shit in here and it's also hilarious.
Yeah, I listened to it in the morning. I listened to it, and I mean, I prepare my little morning Saturday bowl, let's say. I listened to the Drake song. I'm like, okay, he's rapping. He's really rapping. Like, this is 2013 Drake rapping. All right, like, this is better. This is Arbor, you on rare form. All right, and then Kendrick hits you with a "We Cry Together," which is like, I remember when that song came out on Mr. Morale, and I was talking with it with people, and it's like what is part of what makes it such a good album listening experience and why we evangelize listening to albums, because it really only works in the context of listening to that album. I imagine this is not a song that a lot of people who are living happy and healthy lives are just going to on a whim to play, like, oh, let me listen to We Cry Together on repeat.
Or my favorite, Crown or Auntie Diaries. That's not what you listen to on repeat, but it's like the artistry, the poetry and everything. The lyricism is unbelievable. And that's why
even Crown's a little bit catchier, but no, you probably wouldn't listen to Auntie Diaries and We Cry Together, or you like Mother I Sober. Like, these are
Mother I Sober for sure.
These are songs that are storytelling. And it's why
and that makes that album a goddamn masterpiece.
That's why he's known as like a really good storyteller as well as a good rapper and artist. Whereas Drake is, he's talented. He's a pretty good singer. He's a pretty good rapper with assistance. And yeah, that's kind of the separation there. But Kendrick, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Drake was able to take a leak and find his favorite jacket before not being able to turn outside of his cul-de-sac, and Kendrick dropped again. And so you got to imagine, for Drake, someone who was obsessed with having a narrative and keeping the narrative,
And yeah,
he's pissed. Also, in this release for Family Matters, you get the full version of what Kendrick was talking about in the 616 in LA album cover, where now you see the Maybach gloves, you see some pills, you see an Ozempic thing in the bottom corner. Yeah, you see a shirt. You see a lot of other different things here. Go ahead.
well, I'm just gonna get right into Meet the Grams because it's
Let's do
just
that. Sorry, let me say, like, I was mentioning all the songs, like, this is a purely painful, masochistic listen. This is Kendrick not really rapping so much as he's like angrily talking, like a Batman villain who was like left in the corner of Arkham Asylum because everyone else is like, nah, he's too crazy. Like, he's actually gonna get us killed. We can handle Batman ourselves, so the rest of the like Arkham Asylum gang can like run over here, but we're leaving Kendrick back there. Like, Kendrick's a loose cannon. Like, that's bad.
yeah, and like I mean,
Kendrick's in the corner, just like mumbling, going like, dear Adonis, I'm sorry that man is your father.
and it's eerie. But I mean that's the point of it, right? Because he just goes, all right, like Kendrick took that shit personal, where he goes, oh, you're coming after my family, I'm about to ruin your life. Like, here you go.
It's the biggest distillation of MF Doom's thesis of wanting to be the super villain of the rap genre. It's like this is Kendrick going into the Avatar state. Like,
And I
this
mean,
is
also, you have to give a big props to the Alchemist too for dropping the eerie beat and everything and producing it, right? Getting the exact idea that Kendrick wanted to make with this, and you get that feeling, that unsettling feeling through it, right? And it's an homage to his fucked up life, pretty much, right? Like, he goes over talk about being a deadbeat dad, like he's apologizing to his son at the very beginning, right? It goes, dear Adness, I'm sorry that I man is your father, but let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man. Your dad is not responsive. Like, that's the
I
opening
look
of it.
at him and wish your grandpa would have wore a condom.
I'm sorry that you got to grow up and stand behind him. And it's just like, there's so much that's in here that's like unsettling and everything. And he's just keeping it real. Like, it's all right. So right, like I had Vanessa, the missus. She wanted to get the whole rap beef, right? But she gets to meet the Grams part of the beef, and Vanessa just goes, oh, like Vanessa literally goes, holy fuck. Like, she's just, I see her the corner of my eye because I'm driving, and she's just like,
It's
this
like
slowly get like unraveling everything. She's like, oh my god.
there are certain Curb Your Enthusiasm episodes, even though it's a critically acclaimed show, but there's certain episodes of that show that are just exhausting to watch. And like,
Yeah.
that's the style of the show. It's like Larry David's doing a bit and it's really funny and there's going to be good payoff at the end. But it's so exhausting to watch because you have to like think about all of you have the anxiety of thinking what life is like after the events have folded.
Yeah.
Because like, it's just a 6-minute onslaught of the most disrespectful and diss rap, like rap, like, period. Like, this makes the story of Adidon seem like a pap smear. This is a full on like rectal exam of a rap diss. It is clinical, it is surgical, it is slow and methodical. It's like, again, dear Sandra, dear Drake's mom, your son has some habits. I hope you don't undermine them, especially with all the girls that's hurt inside this climate. You're a woman, so I know how it feels to be in alignment. Um, and then it's like saying, Sandra, sit down. What I'm about to say is heavy. Your son's a sick man with sick thoughts, and I think niggas like him should die. Him and Weinstein should get fucked up in the cell for the rest of their life.
Jesus Christ.
Sean, as someone who has previously been in the position of speaking about how someone's mother should have raised them better, how disrespectful do you think of a diss that this is?
That's like, that's like, man. When I heard that part the first time, I went, "Oh my god!" I'm like, why are Bam and C's like leaving the rap beef when you get this? Because this is the most disrespectful.
Because they're
thing
Drake fans, and they're like, this makes Pusha T look like the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey fucking circus.
Like, it's just, it's so fucking disrespectful. It's unbelievable how bad it is, and like, it just shows that. And the reason why he made this track, right, or like had all this too, it's like Drake started going after his family and everything. He's like, all right, I got nuclear bombs for if you go over my family. Boop, here you go. All right, and he goes to a different level.
With the disc being ready, like hot and ready Little Caesars, 30 minutes or less of your money back delivered. Like Amazon Prime same day delivery.
Hell yeah.
He's saying, and what you references later on, he's saying like, oh no, we've got like 50 in the chamber. Like he's saying, I got multiple in the chamber. I've gamed out your plan because you're so predictable, which is something Kendrick also says at some point in this. And he says, oh, I knew you would probably do this. So let me just load this one and fire it off. He's a bad man.
Yeah,
He's a bad man.
And he also goes into it's literally dropping that Drake has an alleged daughter and all of that too, and saying, "Hey, like you're a deadbeat."
He got sex offenders on Hovio allowance. Like that's the thing. It's like he's telling his mom and dad that Drake should die and get bleeped in prison with Harvey Weinstein, mostly because he's, taking advantage of women, as Kendrick is alleging here, but also, yes, because as Kendrick is saying here in this verse, the first one is Dear Adonis, the second verse is Dear Drake's parents, the third verse is Dear Drake's apparently 11-year-old plus daughter, who is apparently been hidden from the world by Drake. Now, Drake has, since the song come out, vehemently denied this, but wouldn't be the first time.
Oh yeah.
Where have we? I mean, like, it's not like this is coming out of the blue. Like when Pusha T happened, we all had to be like, "Wait, really?" Like what? Like Pusha T told the world. Pusha T was the gender reveal for Drake, for Drake's kid. When this kid grows up and realizes that he was like the Archduke Ferdinand of World War I and II of rap, I hope he just like, first of all, I hope this kid is like turbo gay and just like does reality TV. Like I hope that like he stays the hell away from music. I hope Adonis is gay.
Oh no. This was the song that literally should have ended the beef almost, where it's like,
because I said there's one last part here.
Go ahead.
I mean, like the last part, the last verse, he's saying, Dear Aubrey. The last two verses, he's saying, basically, Dear Aubrey, speaking to you, you've got all these problems. You're bad with money. You have gambling addiction. You have a drinking addiction. You have a drug addiction. Therapy isn't enough for you. You need ayahuasca so you have a full death of your ego and a full restart of what's going on in your brain. You're a body shamer, even though you've had work done on yourself. And then there's the new voice that's going to haunt anyone who fucks with Kendrick ever again. The lie with the vocal treatment done to echo on it every time he does it. When he says, "You lied about your religious views. You lied about your surgery. You lied about your accent. Your past tense is all perjury. You lied about your ghostwriters. You lied about your crew members." And like the lied is all like getting echoey and louder every time he does it. "They all pussy, you lied on them. I know they all got you in them. You lied about your son. You lied about your daughter. You lied about them other kids that's out there hoping that you come. You lied about the only artist that can offer you some help. Fuck a rap battle. This a long life battle with yourself."
Where do you like? Right. That's it. That should be. That should be the end of it. Like you hear Kendrick doing that shit, and you're just like, dude, this is
Dead.
like Kendrick might actually try to go after the guy, like with a fucking Tech 9 or some shit. Like this.
I think Academics
bad.
actually after this release, Academics said to, because he was on stream, Drake had told Academics to stay late on stream. Academics did, only to react to Drake's song for 10 minutes and spend the rest of the night on Kendrick after spending the previous part of the day on Kendrick. So the song got entirely washed up. The only thing he cared about was fame, and Kendrick knocked that with Meet the Grams. This was like, again, the only way Drake wins the beef after that point would seem to be murder. Would seem to be making this rap beef extremely less fun. Because for now, it's been fun because we don't really logically expect J. Cole or Drake or Kendrick, especially J. Cole, to really get violent. But arbitrary scale.
Arbitrary scale. This one is definitely 100% my Kobe. Absolute special VFR, get into IMC and crash into the 101. Absolutely, 1000%.
This is my Aaliyah.
That's a good one too. That's a real good one. I thought about that.
Yeah, it is incredible. Wait 6 months to be Felipe with the fire or the shredding or the fireworks or whatever.
Yes.
Either way, to me, that's the explosion noise. Wow. Wait, we got to meet the potentially psychotic side of Kenny. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, is that like Kendrick is coming. Once I heard nigga bum, I was like, oh no, Kendrick's that dude who's like sitting on the bus, who's just like his eyes are poking out and he's just like looking angrily and he's staring at everyone's walking on the bus. You just know, just stay away from that dude. Just don't sit next to that dude. Don't make eye contact with that dude. Just keep moving and keep that dude away from you, right? Like,
you get away, step away from him. Just, all right, let it happen. Like, just go away.
That was like the twinkle in J. Cole's eye when J. Cole did the drop and he released it. And he was like, wait a minute. Kendrick Lamar is absolutely insane. Like, I'm trying not to use ableist language here, but like Kendrick Lamar is he's Warpath Kendrick. In the same way that like I lose part of my sanity whenever I go on a warpath of some kind. However righteous it may be, Kendrick is just like, oh no, he's got tunnel vision for hatred.
Right.
Which brings us to Not Like Us, which is like, dude, you're just dancing on the grave. It's like when you're the heavy in Team Fortress and you just like had Uber charge and you killed an entire team and now you're just using the bullets to just spray the bodies across the floor. Like that's what Not Like Us was. Right. Everyone was complaining, oh, Kendrick, your songs are too, they're changing flows and it's all this deep shit and you're doing all this like, methodical stuff and it's hard to listen to. Drake is making bangers. He's making songs that people like. And that's the whole reason why Drake's the better artist. Kendrick goes, okay, Drake still hasn't responded yet. I'm going to drop Not Like Us.
And I'm going to drop the club banger. I'm going to drop the PDF file song. I'm
going to give the West Coast the song of the summer. Good fucking luck. Once again, if you were planning to release a song of the summer in 2024,
push it back. push
Push
it
it
back.
back.
If you're
You
trying to
have
release
no
anything.
chance. You have no chance. You have no chance. Absolutely no chance. Not a snowball's chance in hell. Especially if you're in rap. If you're in another genre, maybe. Maybe. Drake? I don't think so. I don't think so.
And like right, and this goes to my point earlier, right, where it's like Kendrick right now is really showing why it's fuck the big three. It's just big me. He has the crown, right? Like all of the diss songs that he's dropped are varying in tone, varying in sound and lyricism. It's not the same beat over and over again. They're very different. He gives you right introspection songs, him going Joker mode, and then the fucking club banger where Not Like Us is hilarious. It's just him straight up saying, you know what? No, fuck this shit. You know what? You're just straight PDF file. That's what you are. You are muted, sir.
That's right. It's still Joker villain style,
Yeah, but
like
it's fun
villainy,
Joker
but this
villain.
time it's like it's vaudeville villain. It's MF
Vaudeville villain,
Doom
yeah.
in his most fun era, where yeah, he was running the game. He was like, yeah, let me get some like really dope, and this was Mustard on that beat. So you had a really fun track. You had something that banged. You had something that was eerie, but you had something that ultimately just like slaps. And yeah, it's bad enough when you make a diss record against someone. It's bad enough when you make your diss record a hit. And me and Ole, we felt the similar energy. When this track dropped, we were like, I wasn't planned to go out tonight, but I need to go out tonight because I need to hear this song in a club energy. I need to do some Audioface investigates. I need to hear for the people what's going on. And it's Cinco de Mayo weekend, a holiday that you know mostly white people celebrate by getting drunk. When Mexican people are celebrating it, it's usually just like family and it's chilling, it's whatever, right? But like it's like mostly it's white people getting drunk. But anyways, it was this weekend. And in California, in clubs all around California, and a few in New York as well, bopping this song. Drake songs were getting booed. Like it was a generational.
It's funny how much people are hating on Drake right now. I'm all for it, but I'm like, damn, I really didn't realize how many people hate him right now. It's kind of funny.
No, we've wanted this forever. Like we have wanted this.
Oh, we have exactly. That's what I'm just saying. It's funny, but I'm down.
And like we've learned not a lot of new things here, but these are all the things that people who have been hating Drake have been talking about, and now they're forced to be front and center. So, yeah, Kendrick's just having fun on here. He's really just like not just dancing, but like crip walking on the grave here. Let's see. There's just so many legendary this is element Kendrick Lamar here. Here's a quotable: "Beat your ass and hide the Bible if God watching." And he uses that to start a verse. Like you literally got to imagine him like Benny Hill, goofy ass, like 50s cartoon where his like teeth are pianos. Like this is how goofy and villainous Kendrick is on this record. He's talking about the OVO people. Like they tell me Chubb's the one that gets your hand-me-downs. That's saying like, okay, so like Chubbs gets all the women that like Drake first sleeps with, and Party, aka Party Next Door, who just dropped a record. Party at the party playing with his nose now. So you're saying that Party Next Door has a coke issue. And Baca got a weird case. Why is he around? Baca on OVO, who apparently has a weird sex charge case. And in case he had any sort of like, I don't understand what he was saying, Kendrick goes, certified lover boy, certified PDF file.
It's great, man.
Sorry, last one here, which is why like this song is the California anthem for this weekend and perhaps many weekends to come this summer. Verse 3. You think the Bay gonna let you disrespect Pac, nigga? I think that Oakland show gonna be your last stop, nigga.
Yeah.
You could give Oakland crumbs and they will ride that out for 5 years. All right? You can still play Blow the Whistle at like a jazz concert in Oakland and you can get everyone turned up. Like You can get grandparents on bingo night in Alameda County turned up by playing Blow the Whistle. All right. The Bay Area survives on scraps. These two lines are all you needed, Kendrick, to like overwin the Bay Area. Like this is overkill. This is my arbitrary skill. This is my Amelia Earhart. This is the Amelia Earhart of rap beef. Legendary death, tight snatch. It's everything you want from a rap beef.
Jesus Christ. This is when an entire Brazilian soccer team ate it in the mountains. The entire team is gone. Like, that's it. That's it. Boom, bells. They had to eat each other and stuff with some of the survivors. That's great.
What OVO stand for? The other vaginal option?
It's not fair, man.
And then, like, again, it's a victory lap. So he goes, how many stocks do I really have in stock? A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 5 A. If that's meant to be believed, Kendrick has, at minimum, 10 more songs left. Kendrick can make I Hate Drake the LP, a concept record about how much I hate Drake. And it would be the longest record Kendrick Lamar has made in years.
Really would.
There's a rumor going around, and especially on the Kendrick side, these rumors are really hard to tell. But apparently the original version of Euphoria was 17 minutes long.
That's big hating, man. That's like, wow, it's great.
He's doing push-ups at 1 a.m. in the park. I'm pushing the time back earlier just to indicate how unhinged this man is.
Dude, it's so funny. It's just, yeah, unbelievable hate.
Not regular push-ups too. He's doing the military push-ups. Them 1, 2, 3 ones. Them 1, 2, 3 ones. Oh my! And of course, like, sorry, I have to mention. This is going to be a quick podcast. You have to mention this part here because this goes into the whole part of the beef. Once upon a time, it was us all in chains. Basically, he goes into the story about how in Atlanta, it used to be a city where colonizers would come in and say, we're going to use the resources, we're going to use the capital of the city, and we're going to take it in our own way and build our own industry and our own factory, and we're not going to give it back. And Kendrick says, fast forward 2024, you got the same agenda. You called Future when you didn't see the club. Lil Baby helped you get your lingo up. 21 gave you false street cred. Thug made you feel like you were slime in your head. Quavo said you can be from Northside. 2 Chainz said you good, but he lied. You run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars. You're not a colleague. You're a fucking colonizer. So again, this is not about you being a mulatto, right? This is about culture vulturing. This is about coming someplace when you need a hood receipt, when you need your hood card punched. And, you know, Drake has put on a lot of good artists, but Atlanta was popping thanks to Outkast and Andre 3000 and T.I. and Killer Mike and a number of others. It did not need Drake. These artists would have killed it without Drake. And yeah, he makes a step. You can literally line dance the song. You can crip walk to the last minute of the song. It's pretty brutal.
It's pretty brutal.
Really quickly, we got to mention that one of the more quotable lines from Drake's original song "Push Ups" was telling Metro to shut up and make some drums, and that just ended up being the default response. Apparently, Drake had paid for a drum line from like a college big band or like a high school big band for a drum line to play in Atlanta at a lounge or a club that Metro Boomin frequents. They had drums waiting outside, but Drake paid for. So again, corny ass. But Metro Boomin, in addition to confirming the cease and desist attempt of Like That, trying to get it from not playing on the radio, he also dropped a beat called BBL Drizzy. So continuing another aspect that Rick Ross was talking about Drake having all these body modifications in order to, you know, let's call it gender affirming care for Drake to feel more like a man. and kind of making fun of him that on that point. And he said, "Whoever makes the best rap on this gets the beat for free." There's like a free Metro beat is like NMC's best dream, and so now you have a bunch of people. Yeah, Metro Boomin can only make drums and make beats, but he can make the beat for anyone. And so now you have a bunch of small, medium, and large tier rappers getting into this rap beef. You have smaller creators who are interpolating songs from other rappers onto this new song. So I already heard someone take Pusha T's Story of Audidon lyrics and put it onto the BBL Drizzy instrumental. So we're off to the races there. Not much to mention there. I just wanted to mention that because he took a lot of smoke from Metro Boomin, and a lot of Drake heads were like, "Hey, shut up and make some drums, Metro," even though Metro has helped Drake a lot. And I think that's another situation where Drake needs Metro more than the other way around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah. It's just that's the fun one. But we got surprise.
Lastly,
We got one more right before. Thank God I said this recorded 8 because we
and by
got
the way, I just looked. Nothing else has been released.
nothing else has been out.
so-
All right, so we're in the clear as of
Yes.
right now, the 5th of May, at 10:25 Pacific Standard Time. This is the last of the rap beef, The Heart Part 6 by Drake.
Making fun of Kendrick's The Heart Part 1 through 5 series that he's done throughout his entire career, usually to announce new album rollouts, similarly to how Drake will have Scary Hours or things like that.
Right.
And this one was definitely where Drake's response with Family Matters was his strongest. Easily The Heart Part 6 is his weakest.
Absolutely.
He's coming out trying to play gaslighter mind games, which Kendrick Lamar called the shot on earlier songs, emphasizing the lie and calling him a liar. He's lied many times in public records, so that definitely doesn't help him as well. Whereas again, Kendrick's imperfections are public record, so we can judge all of that, and we can judge all of Drake's imperfections on that same level playing field, at least as far as we know right now. So Drake responds basically saying, I'm denying everything that Drake is saying. I'm denying everything that Kendrick is saying. Oh, and by the way, I put out a fake mole, like a fake OVO member, to try to get in the Kendrick team's good graces to feed fake information on some mob shit. Like, I've seen this in a couple different mob movies where, like, the mobsters, like the head boss is trying to find a mole. And so I think this is a Sopranos episode. They tell different information to like their top 5 people to figure out, okay, well, if you know that information, I only told that version of the information to one person, and that narrows it down. So Drake's trying to say that he did something like that. And I'm going to blow my nose now, so you take it off.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, like the Heart Part 6, it's definitely the weakest of Drake's disses, where he goes into like denying all of the stuff, and the best part of it, right? The Always Sunny reference of like, I need to go on and say I'm not a pedo. You're muted. I'm not a pedo, and I'm gonna make the anti-pedo song. Like, that is the definition.
I'm getting it on right now. So like, yeah, and it says, to paraphrase, and I'm trying to be a very nice pedo. Freudian slip, not paraphrase.
Hey, man.
Carl. No. This is a very generous paraphrase here. I wouldn't be getting down with Millie Bobby Brown. I wouldn't be getting down with minors like that because I'm too rich and famous. If I were doing that, I would have been caught by now.
That's what everyone says, though.
You know, I believe R. Kelly's lawyers use that in court too.
Wouldn't let that shit happen to me, though.
I believe Bill Cosby's lawyers use that in court too. And again, I'm at this point, in all fairness, the accusation, just the base accusation that Drake is like, involved with minors is something that has been, floating around a while, and you have some pretty bad video evidence from certain concerts, especially here and there. And Drake has not done things well himself with the whole Millie Bobby Brown thing, but we could call those like an accusation because it's just like said in the song. Just as Drake saying Kendrick apparently got into a little bit of a domestic with his partner is just an accusation, right? But literally, as I tweeted, it's the Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme or post where I'm gonna play it here at the risk of getting demonetized, just because it's very funny for me.
We got to definitely write a song about how we do not diddle kids. Do not diddle kids. It's no good diddling kids.
There is no quicker way for people to think that you are diddling kids than by writing a song about it.
You got to write a song that says, "Ooh, I wouldn't do it with anybody younger than my daughter. No, and my wife, and my daughter, something like that."
Don't write a song about that.
Cloudy, I got it.
Oh my god.
The way that Always Sunny is becoming the new Simpsons, where it's predicting everything. Don't have sex with kids, not in the age of my daughter, more the age of my wife. Like, that's a total Drake thing. And also Frank having a headache. Me too, brother, me too.
And it's just it really right like it's
So like the thing that makes it weak is like you can tell that Drake's ghostwriters are religious because this was written on a Sunday and it just feels like the weakest bars that have come out of this entire thing. They clearly were not around to do a lot of their really close edits, and there's no new accusations. It's just trying to reframe the intel that he has of the allegations of Kendrick, and it's saying that haha, I did a reverse Jedi mind trick too, and so I am going to say that the information you have is actually from someone I planted to give you that information. So haha, like it seems very, what are we coming back to? That kid in high school who got dumped or rejected by their crush, and they're like, oh, well, I'll show her, I'm gonna go hit the gym and do some weights and then everyone's gonna like me. Like, it's this fucking kid again. It's just insecure little bitch Drake again. It's the reason why we wanted to give him this award, but somehow,
but fucking J. Cole had to do it. But
the way this rap beef was turning out, there might be still hope around, right? But every single year, someone has just done something more outrageous.
Can't keep getting away with this.
And like, that's kind of the thing with Drake. Kendrick's like, why does he keep getting away with this culture vulture kind of stuff? A lot of people were like, hey, why is he getting away with all of this, alleged child abuse things? And to be fair and put the smoke on Kendrick, why is Kendrick all of a sudden trying to get on Drake about this abusing women, abusing children, over-sexualizing kind of tip, when Kendrick threatened to pull his music off of streaming services if they targeted R. Kelly and XXXTentacion's music? One of the earliest Audioface episodes, episode like 50 or something, I called Kendrick Lamar a quote fucking coon for that decision. And that's why I'm like, this is some series finale shit, because like now here we are, years removed from that, and that move has come back to bite him, because Mr. Morale is trying to stand on some I'm for morality and morals and values in the music industry, the Audioface gold standard, but he still has not really explained that situation. Back then he said, this is an attack on black men, and there are white men who have the same behavior and they're still on these streaming services. I don't see why we're being picked out. But again, that's one of those things where in this business you have to really think about your public actions and how you may or may not use them in the future, and how they may or may not be used against you in the future. It's a very stressful thing. It's the hidden art to doing this in front of a camera, especially for a very long time. It's like knowing that skill and figuring out how to work around that. And it's something that like we don't know. Kendrick just stays out of it, so that's good for him. Drake is really bad at it, because every time he gets caught and he's not controlling the narrative, you see how badly the ship is being run.
Right. Yeah, and that was a lot.
It was a lot. I'm
That
actually
was a
glad we
lot.
aren't doing 2 album reviews after this. There's
Yeah.
one more thing. 5 more minutes. But Vince Staples was
Oh, yeah, that's
asked.
right.
He's from Long Beach. We have some affiliation with the city of Long Beach. Sean and I, not an official affiliation, just where we grew up. And Vince Staples, Long Beach is in some relationship to Compton, so there's a Kendrick Lamar relationship here. This is a setting that is not supposed to be like totally music related. This is supposed to be about like city and growth and policies like that. But someone in the audience asks a question about the rap beef, and Vince Staples gives an interesting answer, because I think there's an interesting question here, which is like, why, especially as this beef kind of starts to wind down, people see all these like sideshow characters coming
Right.
in. It's not sure whether like, are there any more like surprises or big like whiz bang moments left. And there's this big cloud looming over the genre as a whole. People are saying, okay, well, this has been a really nice, exciting distraction, but there's an ongoing genocide in Gaza. There's tragic stuff going on in Ukraine and the Congo, and rising tensions in the South China Sea, and political unrest in the United States, where reproductive rights are under attack, queer rights are under attack. Teaching Black history, the things like Kendrick Lamar did in that song, could be considered critical race theory or offensive to white people in certain states, and therefore banned or blocked. Right? Like it's real out here. Why are we caring about this rap beef? Is there an importance to this rap beef? Vince Staples gives an answer. I may or may not agree with it, actually. But I wanted to play it anyways, just because I think it's a good kind
Yeah, go
of
ahead.
ender for this conversation. For a lot of the folks who stick through this or who have stuck through this and have watched a lot of these leftist commentators talk about this all of a sudden, they're like, okay, why are you talking about this? Does this matter? Is this important? So here's Vince to color this a little bit.
Hey, who you think winning between Drake and Kendrick? It's going up on social media. Don't trip, I got your back, bro.
You don't want to know how I feel about that shit, bro.
All right, look, get with me after
You really want to know how I feel about that
how
shit?
you feel?
I want to know.
Yeah.
I think, so I'm signed to Universal, right?
Yeah.
I've been signed to Universal since I was 17. I haven't got a back end. That means when you turn in an album, they give you payment. I haven't got a back end since 2017, 18. So I done been on the same record label for 13 years, so to say. That record label just folded all of its independent labels and subsidiaries into each other, which means how we was kids, you got Rockefeller, you got Def Jam, you got all these things. None of them exist no more. They fired all the heads of the labels, and if they didn't, they turned them into glorified A&Rs. They cut off 50% of the people who work in all these departments. Most of those people is us, people of color that come from hip hop and R&B and these other things, right? Then you got record labels opening up IPOs. You got record labels destroying their relationships with TikTok, Spotify, things that pay out artists because they want to start their own shit. So then we getting priced out of our contracts. We getting priced out of our imprints. There are no labels basically that are incentivized to sign Black music, and it's happening in front of our eyes. And while Taylor Swift is fighting for people to be able to have streaming money, niggas is on the internet arguing with each other about some rap shit. So that's how I feel about it, honestly. Neighbors is on the
Language, Vince. Language.
About
Nah, I appreciate keeping it real.
So I think, personally, I think we better than that. I think we deserve better than that because we've been saying for decades that we want people to respect Black music and Black art and Black people. And I think for that to happen, we got to respect ourselves. And they don't make it easy for us, but we got to try to work a little bit harder at that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's definitely a perspective that comes removed from this. Okay, well, rap beef, like, yes, it's petty, yes, it's dramatic, yes, it's the male version of like a Lifetime original movie or like a
that's Vince
Broadway movie,
Staples. Yeah.
Yeah, Vince
Long
Staples
Beach
always
City
keep it real.
repping Vince Staples. He's always, Vince
and
Staples always
Snoop.
keeps it real. Yeah.
Yeah, him and Snoop and Sean and I, all Long Beach, I'll keep it real. But the the method behind this, where he's saying like, it'd be really great if Kendrick or Drake were using some of this energy to not make it about themselves, but to make it about the industry in general. And I think you can't do everything at once. Kendrick definitely is like centering Drake part of his beef, but I also think he's also made it clear that like Drake is a symptom of what he sees as wrong with hip hop and rap, and that he doesn't want another Drake to appear and coalesce in this industry ever again, really. He doesn't
Right.
want it to be like that. And so I think that's a conversation you need to have. And these things are flashpoints for conversation. We're recording this on a Sunday. This Monday, removing the likelihood that more responses start flying out here and there. But this next week, you're going to be flooded with think pieces this way, that way, and the other way about what this beef means or why you should care about it. And so to get out ahead of that, like on a music level, it's pure, clean, wholesome rap beef. Like, you know what? The playoffs are on. People are watching sports. People have their like TV and reality TV shows and game shows. It's just entertainment. It's bread and circuses. Like, two, it's really crucial to the genre itself and what it stands for. This pivotal moment when it's dying, creatively, and also what its soul is. And if you keep getting culture vultures like Drake, it's not going to do better for the genre. Drake has not given more to the genre than he's taken away from it. That's for sure. But why talk about this as opposed to Palestine? First of all, most people I think are doing both. At least on Power Report, that's what we're definitely doing. Second of all, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Like, there's a lot of people who are focusing on this and have been focusing for the past 7 months now, God, on the situation in Palestine. And yeah, thirdly, like, you are pushing forward these kinds of harder, tougher conversations that are requiring like a lot more process and thinking and into like deep conversations of like, okay, let's look at this biracial thing beyond being biracial. Let's look at it as what cultures are you being comfortable in and how are you using that to your advantage to maybe someone else's disadvantage? How are you learning for that and how are you working around that in the Disclosure Damon Albarn way and not the Drake speaking patois way? And so like, I think, things are going on at the same time. And the reason why a lot of lefty content creators are talking about this is that right wingers have shitty takes about, when the Barbie movie comes out or when Oppenheimer comes out, because they use these opportunities of while pop culture is happening to get their own ideology in there. And so it's good that like people on the left are having these conversations. So new folks start to view the like Audioface and Power Report streams, and they start to slowly get indoctrinated to, like left of center style politics. And that becomes like a broader good thing than them watching Andrew Tate or whatever. Right. But overall, these are largely separate things. And it's good to have like I don't want to use that like the tree of liberty has to be watered with blood type quote here, but no, like the tree of rap down at 11 p.m. No, but like the tree of rap needs to be watered with beef. Like you need to have
this is great. This is exactly what rap needed, right? It needed two of the biggest stars in it, and I think some of the best in the genre right now for sure.
Two of the
have it.
2010s most talented artists,
Yeah,
and probably like some of the best rappers to ever do it. I think I feel
and
more
like
so
for
that
them
way.
to do it right, of like it needs it right, where the genre is dead. The genre doesn't have anything going for it, and this is getting Drake to rap again, like really go out. It's making Kendrick drop more and stuff, and it's getting out to where it's showing the artistry of really Kendrick, and showing right like what they can do and everything. So it's really good for the genre in that regard. But
it's making J. Cole catch up on his sleep,
and it's making J. Cole still sit on the bench and fucking 20 like 10 points in 30 games. Yeah, but I mean, it's beef. We love it.
we do have an answer to what happens when this all collapses, because I think it's all collapsing right now. Let me be clear. I don't expect to enjoy rap this thoroughly ever again for a number of different reasons.
Not until Kendrick drops a new album.
No,
Like-
I still like, I think because rap was like, it's more than just the music. Like rap, more than even a lot of other genres, I think for me was like the culture and what comes around it. And I think that's just like the people who introduced rap to me and what hip hop used to be in the 90s and the aughts, right?
It's just not what it's not what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't. And the newer rappers, there are many that I like, but the generation is different. What appeals is different. I can appreciate a Sexy Red song in public, but I'm not going out to listen to that. So I just like don't get the appeal. There's a certain part of me of like I'm becoming an old head when it comes to rap. There's another part just like this is Drake 1 already, in the sense that this is already a pop genre, and that a lot of that stuff, like the No Names, the Tierra Wax, I'll still get to enjoy, but I'll be with the other old heads at the smaller shows. And
Yeah,
the
like
younger
you'll
old
just be
heads
with
too.
me and him, right? But like again, right? And the whole point of Audioface, right? Like there's a lot more interesting music for us on Audioface to review and to get excited about, right? Like, and that's our whole thing, our conversation that we had earlier about rap is dead, rap is dying, right? That, and we've gotten like these albums that are the same thing that we've been getting for 10 years, right? Like trap is overdue, like it was overdone, right? Even artists that we enjoy, like 21's last record, we're like, it's okay, but it's nothing like groundbreaking or anything, right? Like, but with other genres of music, we're getting a lot of really cool, interesting sounds. And I mean, change, right? I mean, you had Justice album last week, which I got into, of saying like they made two separate things, a live show and a record, and they said, look, this is what we want to do, and they try something fucking different, and that's the point. Rap is dying, and right, beef is what it needs. So it's good for the genre, but once this kind of dies down and boils over, it goes back to being on life support, as we've been saying the past couple years.
And one last angle here, because some people are trying to give the women in rap some credence by saying, oh, you know what really started this feud was Megan Thee Stallion and Hiss, which is like, listen, listen. I think women are going to be taking the lead in rap in this time, and
they're
when we
more
say rap
interesting than the male side by far.
yeah, and when we say rap is dead, we don't mean like, oh, the genre's over. So like, like, okay, women, do whatever you want to. It's the WNBA now. Like, no, we just mean that like every other genre, we've said like, blank is dead. It's going to have to go through several years of,
I mean, look at rock.
yeah, it's going to have to go through several years of reinvention and finding out what works and what doesn't, and what is a fad and who isn't, to really solidify what that genre starts to look like for a little bit longer. I mean, like, all of the prototypical rap artists, your NLE Choppas, your Lil Uzi Verts, like Lil Yachty's, they're just making ostensibly less trappy music, to the point where like it's not even rap. They're making these different pivots in all these other different places. So it's like, I'm glad they're doing it. You might get some interesting things from there, but it's just going in so many other different places. These women are going to take it over for sure. And, I think the rap beef between Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion was illuminating. It was very helpful, because I think there are some people who are still writing very hard with Nicki Minaj for whatever dumb Kanye West legacy style reason. And that helped to kind of shake him off a little bit. There's that saying in politics, there's no light without heat. And I think that is very much true in a rap genre more than any of them as well.
Right,
Where
yeah.
it's good to, what? Maybe if Kanye West was dumb enough to get himself into a rap beef with some like larger artists and actually go like rap for rap and not go like Instagram post for Instagram post, like Kanye has been doing with like Kid Cudi and a bunch of other artists and celebrities like that.
And
that one guy from SNL, his own wife. Like I think if Kanye had survived a rap beef, he would have been knocked down a couple pegs. I don't think he could have released, Donda 1 and 2 and done all the stem player shit. I mean, he could have for his diehard fans, but it wouldn't have worked as well. Like, fewer people would have been with it. Yeah. And so, there is I wasn't thinking this could be an outcome. I guess I'll leave it with you to be like, what do you think might happen next year? Because I was going to think like, listen, Drake's pretty untouchable and Kendrick's demons are all pretty much out there. So it's only benefit for Kendrick, and even then it's only slight. And it's just going to be all about respect. Now, I don't know. The allegations, if Drake is right and Kendrick got false information, it's a big egg on your face moment, and it just looks really bad. If Kendrick's right, Drake and or many people in his orbit are going to jail.
that happens, then that's
Like there's literally like it's kind of an impasse. It's like either Kendrick Lamar is going to get sued like that lady who gossips on Cardi B, like the absolute dog shit is going to get sued out of Kendrick Lamar, and he's going to deserve it, or he's going to win another Pulitzer Prize for breaking down another like sex crime ring in the entertainment industry. There's really only two ways this goes, and there's going to be some musical flourishes here and there that'll be nice, but this is, even this rap, we're like, it's less about the beats, the melodies, which are nice, but it's more about how much public damage are you doing to the other person's career. Like, we're already very removed from the genre. So I'm enjoying it just for the carnal blood sport of it. I mean, all of my teams are knocked out of the playoffs now. So like, these are my playoffs at this point.
have some 6, baby.
I'm just going to break open some of the some of the puck ice from the Vegas's winning game and use that as lube. Yeah. No. Go Knights, go with every pump. But like,
oh Jesus!
Unite the realm. Okay. So yeah, I think that this has just been it's been a great exhibition. That's what I think, honestly. I don't know where this is going to go from here. I think there are very few ways it can go from here, but it's very likely that both of these guys walk away from this somewhat, if not relatively, unscathed. But also likely that sometime this decade we get some documentaries about Drake's embassy mansion and what goes on there.
I'm down.
Again, like, if Kendrick is telling the truth, and he has the right information here, he's doing some disrespectful, catchy raps, but about like international federal offenses. Like full on, like the Mounties are going to be knocking on Drake's door, ringing his shit out like they did Diddy.
No Diddy.
So yeah,
Thank you.
Against better judgment, we did a. Look at Dan calling his shots. I said this would take until 11. Here we are.
Yeah.
This is Audioface. Thank you very much for listening and watching this super deluxe version of this. Listen, a lot of other streams are doing reaction streams. I think this is great, where we just kind of like take it all in as context and just like jump at it. So here it is. Here it is for you.
In all its glory.
Yes. Please check out youtube.com/audiofacepod. That's youtube.com/audiofacepod. Audiofacepod, all one word. That is where we do the music review show. Lately I've been double streaming it on Dan from the Internet, cynically, to get more views, but also because this is like a slightly political thing as well.
Yeah,
So
I mean, we definitely dive into all of that.
yeah, for the music stuff, make sure you check out that. But yeah, Power Report, God willing, we'll see. I'm definitely not done myself any favors tonight with my cold, so I'm probably going to really hate the next 2 days. But Power Report most likely will return on Thursday, and Bam and I think, are appearing on some shows later this month, on some other shows as well. So please look out for that. Anyways, Sean, what does it mean to play us out?
Find us at audioface.show for all of that. We usually tend to stream sometime in Sunday evenings. So hopefully catch all y'all guys for the next one, because we love talking about albums and records for those of you who are kind of first-time listeners, because that's our whole thing.
And thank you all for joining live with no notice, because we were like having a floating live time here today as well. So Mike Boy for Mayor, Felipe, Zero PE, Anti-Corporatist, Uncle Slayer. I think there were a couple of others, but thank you all for absolutely Citron as well. Thank you all for joining and making this stream fun, making this last dying gasp from the albatross that is rap music a little bit enjoyable. And with that, I am going to take all of the NyQuil that I can possibly find.
Hell yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.